You saved the cheerleader, so we could save the world.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another audio edition of Watching the Eclipse. I am Brant, Fowler, your host and the writer of the column as seen on ComicRelated.com every day, Monday through Friday, as I recap the entire series of NBC's Hiros, leading up to the Dynamite Entertainment comic book. Now, this week's is going to be a little bit shorter because I'm dealing with some computer issues, and time is very short this week for me. So, I'm going to get straight to the point, not a whole lot of extraneous kind of stuff to talk about this time. A few things, but not as much as in previous episodes. So this week I covered episodes 16 through 20, and if you don't know, there's 23 episodes in season 1, so that means there's only 3 episodes left by the end of this week's coverage. So we're right there at the season finale. The season finale is actually a 3-parter, so the rest of the show is the season finale, basically. So with episode 16, titled Unexpected, a few interesting things, and I mentioned this in my column as well. Stan Lee makes a cameo as a bus driver that Hiro gets on, and he asks him, hey young fella, are you all alone? And it's a cool little cameo to see Stan Lee in there. Another cameo in a later episode. I think it was the next episode. No, it was maybe it was the same episode. I don't remember now. I'd have to look back at my column, which would be wise. But in one of the episodes this week, it might have been Parasite or 0.7%. I don't recall. Wow. Oh yeah, it is episode 18, Parasite. 2 FBI agents approach Nathan. Actually, they're working together with Nathan, which I'll get to all that in a second. But they go by the names of Agent Kusada and Alonzo. And anybody that doesn't know, Joe Kusada, Axel Alonzo, the bigwigs behind Marvel Comics. And they don't last an episode. They get killed off immediately, which is kind of funny. But yeah, so some nice little nods to the comic book world, specifically Marvel, in these episodes. So, Unexpected, we catch up with Claire, and her mother's memory has gone haywire. She collapses in the kitchen, and meanwhile Peter and Claude are training. You've got Hiro coming to terms with the fact that he has to send Ando on his way because he's afraid he's going to get him killed, which plays out later in the week, actually. So it's another foreshadowing moment. This whole season was great with foreshadowing moments. It was just very well written. We had Suresh and Siler, or Zane, quote unquote, attempting to contact other powered individuals. So they hit the road and everything. And Isaac's completing a painting of Peter, but Peter's already there. They confront each other, and this is the episode. This was the first of 2 very emotional episodes this week, or in this week's column. And this one was where Simone died. At the very end, Isaac is trying to shoot an invisible Peter, and turns around and accidentally shoots Simone, and she dies in Peter's arms as the episode ends. And the interesting thing is, the very next episode, we don't even see what happens after that. We're left on a cliffhanger because the next episode, Company Man, episode 17, focuses completely on the Bennett family. Ted and Parkman have taken them hostage. They're wanting answers, and we see some flashbacks to HRG's past, how he got started with the company, how he got his cover story with Primatech, how he met Claude as they were partners, it turns out, and Claude was apparently harboring one of the individuals, which we don't learn who, and actually in an interview with CBR at the time, they were asked if we'd learn who, and they were like, we're going to try to surprise you with next season. So I don't remember if they actually revealed that or not, but yeah, we'll watch that play out and see what comes of that. So, we got to meet the Haitian for the first time when HRG met him, and it was the first time that the Haitian wiped Sandra's mind. But the whole episode was focused on the Bennett family being hostage and HRG's history, and we learned that Hiros' dad is involved with the company somehow. We meet HRG's direct boss, Thompson, played by Eric Roberts, excellent actor, played the part to a T. He's the very I'm your best friend, but if you cross the company, I'm gonna take you out kind of guy. We learned that Claire was given to them by Hiros' dad. Hiro was there. We saw a young Hiro. So it's just the connections go farther back than we even realized. It's a wonderful episode, and it was an episode that was building since day one when they started teasing Noah Bennett, aka HRG. So love seeing that episode. And Parasite, like I mentioned before, we had Alonzo and Kusada killed by Nikki, who was there to take out Nathan as well, but he escaped. Nikki got out and provided him an escape, I should say. And we meet Linderman. I think that was this episode, or maybe it was next episode. No, I think we met him briefly, yeah. In this particular episode, we saw Hiro with the trying to get the sword still. We've got Candace disguising herself as Simone. This is the aftermath of Simone. I one thing I didn't mention, the Company Man episode was also emotional because Claire had to leave her family and go on. But this episode, we got to see what happened with Simone. We got to see just how cold and cruel Candace is as she taunts Isaac by disguising herself and laughing when she says, my condolences. And just a really interesting build-up here. We see Isaac's turn, and of course Isaac's still working with the company, so it shows where he is. We, like I said, we got to meet Linderman for the first time, played by the incomparable Malcolm McDowell, who did an excellent job. I love when Nathan pulls the gun and they're in the kitchen and Linderman is making a pot pie and he's talking about the whole process and everything. He likes to cook, and Nathan pulls the gun and he turns around to him just with this sympathetic face and said, "Now you can't have any of my pot pie." It was one of those classic, beautiful, villainous moments when you know that this guy is really, truly evil, but he doesn't come off that way at all. And that's kind of with the way the whole company portrays themselves, which is very interesting. And we see that Mohinder has figured out that Zane is actually Siler, and he drugs him and ties him up. And but that doesn't last too long. Siler gets free, and that's where we kind of leave things at with that. 0.7%. We learn more about Linderman, and he's talking about acceptable losses. Nathan seems to accept that as well. So Nathan's kind of going on that path with him. Isaac gets his encounter with Siler and says he finally gets to be a hero because he's sent off the Ninth Wonders comic and he knows how Siler dies and he's told everybody else. And Siler kills him like we knew he would from the very beginning. And you have Peter has there was a confrontation between Peter and Siler. Peter supposedly killed. Thankfully Claire was there and she knows how those abilities work. She pulls the glass shard out of his head. He lives. Everything's good. And that kind of leads us into the next episode. A couple of interesting things here. When Siler takes Isaac's abilities, he paints the exact same picture that Isaac had painted of Nathan in the White House, only it's a different art style, kind of distorted, shows a different posture, different facial features, kind of very much darker. And there's a reason for that, which plays out in the next episode, which, again, excellent foreshadowing. at the end of the episode, we have Hiro and Ando. They find themselves 5 years in the future as they escaped with the sword, and they think Isaac might be still alive because they don't know the Siler had escaped. So they go to find him, and that's where we leave things off. When we pick up the very next episode, episode 20, 5 years gone, the whole episode is in the future, 5 years in the future. Hiro meets Hiro, and future Hiro is surprised to see Ando alive because, as we learned throughout the episode, Ando died in the explosion, which again goes back to that foreshadowing with Hiro trying to send Ando on his way, knowing that he was going to get killed. We learn that Nathan is the president of the United States. He's outlawed these people with abilities. He's developed a task force to take them down, and he's just totally out of character. Peter and Nicky are together because Micah died and everything, and Nicky doesn't know that it was Peter's fault at the explosion. All kinds of really interesting developments here 5 years in the future. But in this future, they hadn't stopped Siler. And that's why Hiro went back in the first place. That was the whole save the cheerleader, save the world. Because without the cheerleader's abilities, Siler can't regenerate. But unfortunately, past Hiro is captured by Parkman of all people, and the Haitian, who are working for Nathan. And, so they have to try to get him free so they can go back in time and kill Siler. But as we learn by the end of the episode, the foreshadowing of the paintings, Nathan is already dead. Candace is dead. Siler has taken both of their abilities. He has been posing as Nathan this whole time, and now he has gained more abilities, and he gets close to Claire, takes her abilities, so he is undefeatable. He is, in control. And him and Peter, they have their final face-off as Hiro and Ando finally get back to the past, or back to the present, I should say. But they didn't know, obviously, how to get to that exact point, so we just know that they're back in the present. We don't know exactly when or where they are. They don't know exactly how they're going to do it, but Hiro knows that he has to kill Siler. And he ends with the phrase, "Now the hard part." And the hard part is the title of the first episode of the finale. The very next episode I'll be talking about in the column, so a lot of interesting developments there. Some really, really cool story elements. I love seeing the future Peter and the future Hiro, and seeing how everything is totally twisted and turned because Siler lived. And it's a very interesting world. It shows you the dark world that they are trying to prevent throughout this entire season. And one interesting thing from the Beeman's blog, from Beeman, his blog post for this episode, 5 years gone, he talks about Adrian Pasdar, who plays Nathan, and how he really tried to keep Siler in his head throughout this entire episode. And he actually, even the whole confrontation with Claire, he had Zachary Quinto, who plays Siler, act out the scene so he could watch his mannerisms and everything and try to mimic that for the scene. But the entire time he had Siler in there, but they never let it totally be known until that very last moment when he kills Claire. And it just, I love the way this whole episode was directed, the way it was shot, the way the story came together. And so now we are at the point where all we have left is the 3-part finale to this epic, wonderful first season of Heroes. It has been a thrill ride. It was a thrill ride originally watching it from week to week. It has been a thrill ride to watch it again, to realize just how good this first season was. And I've had a blast with it so far. Got 3 more episodes to talk about, so that means next week's audio installment will be covering that 3-part season finale plus the first 2 episodes of season 2. And then we'll see if things continue, or if, as many people think, things start to fall off the rails. So we will see, but that's going to wrap it up for this week's audio edition of Watching the Eclipse. Please check out the written column on ComicRelated.com. Just go to the columns page, and it'll be one of the first up there at the top. And so yeah, thanks for listening, thanks for reading, and hope you're enjoying this kind of look back at Hiros. And I hope you stay with me once the Hiros comic launches as well. So until next time, guys, stay extraordinary.